All rightio. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. All right. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us on our live webinar, on our Thursday webinar. This is also a very, very exciting space always for us. We've done numerous of these things again, and we will welcome everybody that keeps joining us faithfully. I want to mention some of the attendees that are coming through at the moment. We do have one of our partners, Bruce Stewart, in at the moment. Thank you. Welcome, Bruce. I've got Jackie Supra and Tinas. Thank you guys for joining us so far. You will give it a few more seconds for other people to give them a chance to join as well. But I think in the meantime, Trevor, you want to give us an intro?
Yes, we are excited. It's the 27th of August and heading almost into spring. And it's great to have our panelist with us today, and Lenny will introduce him just now. But guys, it's Trevor Thomas and my business partner, Lenny de Villiers. We are in Duku Group, and we assist families that would like to get to America. And how we do that is we offer employment solutions in America, and on the back of that employment that you get, you can find yourselves qualifying to get a permanent residency in the United States of America. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about the program that we offer and the opportunities that we have, which also include investment opportunities through an E2 visa, then please get hold of either Lenny, myself, or anyone that is in the Duku team. And we'd love to assist you and give you guidance into making the right decisions for you and your family. We'll just give you the right tools. We're super proud to have strategic partnership with Visa Solutions. They are our partners in America that help us to do that, which we do, which is always nice to get people to where they're wanting to go. So if it's your dream and you would like to be in America, please get hold of one of us. This space is quite an interesting space. We call it the Green Room. And Lenny, you want to maybe just touch on what the Green Room talks to?
Yeah, sure. Guys, the Green Room was established actually out of the COVID scenario, where we weren't able to meet with our applicants face to face. And we thought of a space that what we could be doing by reaching out to people and showing them a different avenue of immigration, just so we could maybe make people more aware of what different divisions or different areas of immigrations there are. And we decided to create the Green Room. So the Green Room is that, like I said, we've had numerous of these things, 30 plus, and we have covered topics of immigration from psychology of immigration. We've covered immigrating with pets. We've had our business partners, Visa Solutions, on our chats, covering obviously all our programs, the EB3, the Live Your Dream, and the E2. And if you are in the market of immigrating, we would encourage you to go and have a look at these links and webinars that we've done before, and you will find them quite valuable. And it's also not just for the people that are in our program. It is for a space that we've created that people can immigrate into any space in the world. Even if you just wanted to find out about the idea of immigration, what people are actually thinking about, and why people will be doing certain things. It's also a good space to come and learn. So that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to create a space that is, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to our listeners. It belongs to people that are wanting to know more about immigration. And sometimes we do find out about certain elements, sometimes when it's just too late. So in the near future, we will make it more available what our topics are going forward, so you can schedule your calendar and schedule as well. But today we have got a very, very kind gentleman that has decided to join us. His name is Solly Mweng. He is let me just get that right, Solly, before. He is the founder and convener of the African Brand Summit. So I think today we are going to be getting a bit of a different angle of not just looking at immigration, but looking at countries in specific and the perceptions that countries actually have of one another. And being an African Brand Summit, we also want to, maybe discuss the perceptions people have of Africa and maybe South Africa, and maybe some of the countries that some of our people do immigrate to. So we will be discussing those things with Solly. Solly, welcome. Welcome for
Thanks, Lenny.
time with us.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you, Solly. It's so lovely to have you with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Solly, so to get straight into this, I mean, I suppose the question that I have on my lips this afternoon is, how do you define a national brand? You know, what does it constitute, and who determines this? And is it something that is government influenced, or is it built up on a civic level? I mean, how does this thing come about? Ooh, sorry, I've got no volume now for you.
Went off a little bit. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that for you. So I was asking, how is a national brand determined? So if you could give us that, and then, you know, what constitutes it, or what determines what is a national brand, and is it government influenced, or how is that built up?
Well, I like that question, because you know, brands are developed in pretty much the same way all over. But the bigger the entity, the more complex it is, the more people we have to get involved in the process, so that we can get buy-in from them, the more stakeholders, as it were, you need. If you think about South Africa, for instance, in the early 90s, you know, during or soon after the negotiations, we came from a past that was very divided. And we agreed at the dawn of our democracy that we're going to build a new country. And we defined that country in our constitution, in the Bill of Rights, if you read the preamble to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, it tells you exactly what kind of country we wanted to be. And there was a lot of, except for a few exceptions, on the whole, South Africans agreed with that. Mandela was a great leader of that brand. Now, all brands have to be led. All brands have to have a vision. We had a vision. We knew what we were running away from and what we were building for the future. But you also have to have a set of values. You have to agree what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, how the rules of engagement have to be very clear. And we thought they were clear until, obviously, in recent years, we've seen that you can take a brand with much promise and put the bad people to lead it. People who are unethical, who don't have the kind of values that everybody expected, that, you know, are the values we all agreed upon. And then you end up with the South Africa that we have. We end up with the Zimbabwe that we have. And it's not just in Africa, it happens in other parts of the world as well. So the nation brand is not just determined by politics. It's determined by politics, it's determined by business, it's determined by civil society movements. All of the stakeholders in a nation have to agree, this is what you want to be known for as a country, okay? Yeah. And the minute, and then you have to employ the right people, as I say, to lead it. And it has to be clear what is acceptable in terms of conduct and what is not acceptable. The minute those people go rogue, then other people don't see the need to buy into the brand anymore. And that's where we are at as South Africa.
Yeah, Solly, that is so interesting. And like you said, it is not just a South African way to look at things. I mean, this thing is a thing that covers every country out there. So obviously every country's got their own brand. So I was just reading the explaining the African Brand Summit, the memo on that. And it was just a one piece I want to read to you that really stuck out to me. And it's an amazing point that you made here. It says, ultimately, perceptions inform investor sentiments and attitudes. They can make or break any destination's success in generating goodwill, which is the basis for positive engagement with the outside world. I mean, it is so clear about, you know, how people's perceptions are about should they immigrate, should they not immigrate, should they invest, should they not invest. It's about the perceptions. I mean, we look at what the struggles of other countries have, and we look at the struggles with African countries, and a lot of those struggles are the same, but it's just because of the perception is different. So on that, my question for you is, I mean, on this program, we love to offer simple truth on the show. So how would you define the true state of brand South Africa in the eyes of the rest of the world at the moment, and give a very real financial downgrade and the governmental corruption sagas?
Well, we must remember that no brand lives in a vacuum, right? Especially all brands want to appeal to somebody for something. We want to attract tourism, we want to attract investments, we want to attract skills. We want people who have skills that are rare, that we don't have here, to help us build this country. I mean, a lot of countries are built like that. The United States is one of them. Many people in the United States are not originally American, but they have become American over time because they've brought skills. Some of them were, grew up there with, were born in America, maybe of parents from elsewhere in the world, but over time they have come to build that country. And South Africa should not be an exception. Over time, when we started changing, moving away from apartheid, building this new thing, this new post-apartheid South Africa, there was a lot of goodwill. I mean, if you think about the number of artists, politicians, sportsmen and women, writers, all sorts of people who came here just to see Mandela, to be photographed with Mandela, but also to invest here. People forget that somebody like Richard Branson came here because of Mandela, the Mandela appeal. He said, come and invest in my country. He came here and opened the Virgin Active Group as a result of the appeal of the leader of the brand at the time. So brand leadership does matter a lot. And when that gets broken up, then we have a problem. South Africa right now, actually since Mandela left, South Africa started going off the rails in terms of clear, predictable policies in politics and the economy are concerned. I mean, when we started, I could cite a lot of things. For instance, when we signed up to this Rome Statute, and that's to be part of the ICC. But when we defended al-Bashir, when he came to South Africa, it was wrong. A few years ago, South Africa also refused to support a UN resolution that was aimed at protecting the rights of LGBTIQ communities. Now, those rights are protected and enshrined in our Bill of Rights and the Constitution. But when leaders of our country suddenly turn away from those rights because their friends elsewhere don't support those rights, it's a big problem. So when in the economy, we know state capture has hurt us very, very, very much. A lot of the control of our institutions, including, the appointment of ministers in our cabinet, was given to a foreign family that came here and became friends of the president and control things. They controlled where money goes, they controlled who gets appointed into which ministry, they controlled who ran which SOE and all of that. Over time, obviously, because suddenly those institutions were not run for the benefit of the country and the people of South Africa, money left the country in droves. Those institutions' reputation was hurt big time. If you think, let's just take one institution, SARS. Okay, there was a time when South Africans were okay, we're happy with, look, nobody around the world is proud of paying taxes. They pay because it's an obligation, but they do so more happily or more easily without asking too many questions when they know the money is going to the right place. And SARS we know the story, it used to be seen as one of the best tax revenue collectors in the world. In Africa, in the world, people used to come here to look at how we do it. People paid their taxes, but the minute we realized that, well, whoever was running SARS suddenly was making deals with crooks not to pay because they are politically connected or because they help, they fund some politicians, or that money that hardworking South Africans were collecting wasn't going in the right place. It was spent elsewhere. People started saying, why must I work hard to give money to a government that's stealing the money? So SARS is damaged. I don't know, to be honest, how it's going to regain that reputation. And as a result, South Africa is damaged because all those people who decided, you know what, I'm leaving this country. Why must I work so hard to contribute to a country that doesn't even appreciate me? A country that says there's no room for it for my children anymore. Why must I give money to it? So those people have left. SARS, we've seen our tax base erode, and it continues to erode. I mean, over the past 10 years or 12 years, the tax collections have been reducing progressively every year. And we know that this year is not going to be better. Okay, our economy is downgraded. SARS is not going to meet its target. But the thing is, the impact of that is that government will not have the money it needs to fund its program. So it's going to have to go out there and borrow money in a very difficult climate because we are downgraded. So it's going to be more expensive to borrow that money. We'll end up relying on countries like China, and those loans from China, from places like China, do not come here for free with no conditions. And certainly South Africans don't know what they're being tied into. So we're in a really difficult space. And it's understandable when people start saying, why must I continue to invest in a country that I'm not sure is going in the direction I was hoping it would go, or a direction I agreed we should go, we should take it to.
Absolutely. Sully, so I want to come back to that point just now, and then we'll also talk to one of the points, more sort of in line with business. I just want to ask you something. We're talking about names like Nelson Mandela. We're talking about these type of names. I mean, in South Africa, we've had wonderful business moguls. We've had a whole lot of different sporting equations. I mean, let's talk about the Rugby World Cup. We're looking at Miss Universe. That was just, obviously recently, Zozibini was crowned. All these type of things, right. Great things for South Africa as a country. Does that still count? Does that still count in your opinion?
Yes and no. I feel like the thing is, there was a time when we always said, but the fundamentals are sound. Some fundamentals are solid. Mm. So then all those things were like cherries on top, if you want. We won the Rugby World Cup, a South African, lady is now Miss Universe. Trevor Noah is doing great stuff over there. Elon Musk is achieving awesome things over there. But those things still do not, they are not, the grounding on which they're supposed to sit has been damaged. Okay, so we have to work on the fundamentals. We can't rely on individual South Africans. And what really irks me is that a lot of these people, like Elon Musk and others, they left the country that didn't really embrace them. They became successful out there, and now that they're out there doing also awesome things, we want to run around saying, yeah, they belong to us, they're making us proud. How are they making us proud? How did we make them proud? So we have to invest in the young South Africans before they leave, not after they left. And we're not doing that. We're choosing people on the basis of their skin color to bless them, to say, this young South African, irrespective of what they look like, has got potential. Let's invest in this potential so that whether they're going to realize that potential here or outside, they must be a positive ambassador of this brand, of this nation brand. We're not doing that because we don't have the kind of leadership that understands that all of these things are connected. So it's good to win a Rugby World Cup from time to time, like we did last year. And the good thing about it, it shows us, it reminds us who we can be when we do things together, when we celebrate together. South Africans are awesome people when they do things together. Yes. But those things are not enough to hold us together if the fundamentals continue to be eroded, as it is the case.
Nicely put.
That is absolutely spot on, Sully. And so on in line with entrepreneurs and business and stuff like that. So the question is, how does the performance of a national or destinational brand affect small businesses, trying to expand and scale an international market? We work in an immigration space and support entrepreneurs, obviously, who want to go and start businesses in the USA specifically. I mean, what would you say to them? I mean, what would a small South African business prioritize or leverage at this moment as they position their offering for a world stage?
Look, I think the good thing with South African, initiatives, businesses, or South Africans in general, a lot of times when they leave this country, they become successful wherever they go. People who are entrepreneurial from South Africa, who almost have learned, or they started, their foundation is one that pushes them to, you got to go out there and do it yourself, And I think many people go out there, and we're talking about Elon Musk and Trevor Noah and what's the lady, the actress and others, but there are many others whose names we don't know.
Yeah.
We suddenly learn, but this person is originally from South Africa. They're in aerospace, they're in medicine, in research, in all sorts of fields out there. They come from South Africa. They don't go around with the flag of South Africa because we haven't given them reason to say, but I'm also from South Africa no matter what. And that's what we should be doing. Yeah. So I don't fear people who are entrepreneurial from South Africa making it in other parts of the world, because they have it in them. I mean, we have also one of the most advanced tertiary industry sector, the digital, the upstarts in South Africa, or what do you call it, the technical industry in Cape Town is growing. There's a lot of people who are creating awesome things here. And I think that there's a potential for people like those to go out there and have other people believe in them, other countries believe in them, and create the kind of space and funding for them that will enable them to get those projects off the ground. And of course, in South Africa, unfortunately, we don't see something. We only want to celebrate it after it's been, nurtured and funded by other people, which is a pity.
Yeah. I know, that's a pity.
I think the good news, Solly, is that us as South Africans, because of South Africa per se, we're very resilient. We can handle a lot of obstacles and use them as opportunities, so that's quite what's nice. So Solly, you're a cosmopolitan in your outlook and in heritage. You've lived around the world, and you're a South African tourism marketing manager, I know, and a country manager as well for USA. On a personal level and on a personal note, sort of, how can professionals or families leverage the fact that they are from South Africa to better position themselves in, let's say, the USA? Because obviously we're dealing with families that are going to the USA. Do you feel it's still possible for South Africans to dominate on an international platform? I mean, we spoke about this point now, but just more sort of from your perspective, I mean, what are the real psychological objections and barriers that they would need to overcome to make a success overseas?
Well, I mean, I was very lucky because I went to Canada and the USA having been appointed to occupy those positions. But when I lived in those countries, I also lived in France, by the way, and spent a lot of time in Switzerland. I know many South Africans in all of those countries who are really who are doing well. I think if you're open, if you're a person usually people who leave their country are not people who want to live in little villages. They are open-minded about things. They are broad-minded. They are open to learn new things, to meet new cultures, etc., etc. So if you're that kind of person and you go there into the world, you go to America, and you allow yourself to learn, to adapt to the new culture, you can't be in South Africa what you're in America. Otherwise, then your horizons become limited. So I don't have. South Africans are known to travel, to go to different parts of the world, to establish themselves. And a lot of them, we must acknowledge, left the country not because they wanted to leave the country. They left the country because they got to a point where they felt, I'm not appreciated anymore, or something's happening here that I don't like. It could be violence. It could be all sorts of things that forces them to leave the country. But once they get there are not many that fail to the point where they wanted to come back to South Africa. A lot of people are succeeding. They've done well. They've married foreigners, and we don't know the South Africans until one day they hit the newspaper column, in America or elsewhere. Oh, this dude is from South Africa, or this lady is from South Africa. So that's a good thing about South Africans. But you can't really take South Africa out of South Africans. I really do believe that South Africans, even those who left 20 years ago out there, who live in Australia and other parts of the world, they are passionate about this country, but they're also disappointed because this country has taken a direction that they never expected. So this country has not given them sufficient reason to boast strongly that they're coming from here. But they're ready to work with South Africa if South Africa is led by people who have the openness, the wherewithal, the emotional intelligence, the empathy, the balance, the maturity to know that it's not just about them. It's about South Africans who are here. It's about South Africans who are out there in the world. Because if you think about it, the South Africans who live in the vast diaspora are an unused community of brand ambassadors who could do great things for this country.
Yes.
If they are inspired enough by those who are here. So we shouldn't consider that each time somebody leaves, they are lost to us. They are not, they're useless. We don't have to pay any attention to them. It's a big mistake to consider people who live in that fashion.
I totally agree. I think people, like you said, they never stop becoming a South African, because I think, there was always a rumor when early people started immigrating to, say, for instance, Australia, is that these people that moved there came back so quickly because, they always tried to change Australians to become more like South Africans.
Right.
And because they couldn't do that, they decided, listen, I'm rather going back to where I'm more comfortable with it. So we can't take the South African out of it. But, Sadia, maybe on a last point, I mean, we are getting close to our time. It says, it's a bit of a thing on your side and what you do. I mean, you are the founder and the host of the African Brand Summit in October in Cape Town. And so it's a hybrid event, converging people at the Vineyard Hotel in Newlands, Claremont, as well as engaging people virtually from across the globe. So tell us maybe a little bit about that. And we know annually you attract very high level caliber professionals. I mean, what's in it for the regular person if they attend?
Well, first of all, anyone who's interested in, look, Africa and being African, unfortunately, tends to be portrayed in a negative light all over the world, okay? I've traveled to Russia, to many parts of the world. I was in Russia last year, and I was the only black person in that flight arriving, and I was flying to Yekaterinburg. And I got stopped to be asked all sorts of questions, and because like, who's this person? What is he doing here? You know, is he coming to, you know, to shelter us? Is he going to stay and not want to leave? And so we get questioned quite a lot. And I think that a lot of times we blame other people for the nonsense that's happening in Africa. So the summit is really about to say, let's take responsibility. You can't get the right solution to any problem if you keep misdiagnosing the problem. So what is wrong with Africa in terms of perceptions? What are those negative perceptions? What feeds those negative perceptions? And what are the positive ones? How do we progressively put measures in place to change things about ourselves that inform those negative perceptions? Maybe the way we always I'm pushing it. A lot of changes in government in Africa tend to be by the barrel of a gun. It happens in Zimbabwe, it happens around, people get killed. So all those negative things that keep coming about Africa, a lot of them can be avoided. The way we run our affairs, the way everything, not everything, but most things.
Sure.
So the summit is to say, how can we play a role to demand to reclaim the narrative? How can we insist on the people who run our countries, who lord it over our affairs, that they need to change the way they do things. They need to respect human rights, children's rights, animal rights, environmental rights. They need to respect, to act within the law. When your term of office has ended, you don't change the constitution to stay longer because you don't believe anybody else can do it. You move on. And in Africa, it's not a very strong trend. And Africans do not insist on these things. So we need to say to ourselves, maybe there are things that we're not doing that we could do differently that will help sell Africa. But we also need to stop being a net importer of everything and start being a net exporter of some of the things at least. We have the opportunity to create awesome things that are done in Africa that are exported to the rest of the world that will attract skills from outside of the world to come here and work with innovators, in Africa. But the things, we don't put our investments in the right places, and we tend not to invest for the long term. Leaders want to be able to put money into something so that they are the ones who cut the ribbon. But it doesn't have to be you. The ribbon could be cut in 20 years time. I always give the example of those vehicles that get sent to space. It happened recently. So some of them are going to land in 20 years time. The person who's sending it today might be dead by the time it happens, but they're doing it for the future. So you have to do stuff not for yourself. You need to say, 20 years ago, this guy, he died, but this is the role he played in making sure that today we are able to celebrate this sort of thing. I think in Africa, we lack that kind of long-term thinking, and that is unfortunate. So the summit is really to say, let's look into the mirror and acknowledge what we see and then work on it.
Solly, I love your passion and I love your enthusiasm and just your talk to reality and what the points are. And you're so right. There are many families that are in our program and families that are looking at options about immigration. And when Lenny and I found ourselves on the newsroom Africa as well, people pose questions about why are people immigrating, why are people looking to these options, and it really comes down, Solly, to a factor where people are going, we want opportunities and we're looking for freedom of choice. And
right.
And I think it's people like you that are going to make the difference here in South Africa for those things to happen. People could just start working together and like you say, have that vision, not for today, but for tomorrow, that it would really impact everybody. And so I've really enjoyed this discussion with you. It's not always that we get to have discussions with people like yourself. It was great to really have this time with you, and I thank you for that time. Glenn, I don't know if there's any other questions that we've got from anybody in our.
No, I don't see any questions coming through at all. So yeah, just Solly from my side as well. Thank you very much for your time. I mean, also what I can highlight is that what we don't do in this program is that we don't try and sway anyone to do anything. So what we do is we give information on immigration for people that have pretty much decided that they are going to immigrate, or maybe if they just want to have some information. So we don't sway people, trying to make them go any way. But yeah, this is just to highlight that we give information here. We are professional in how we conduct ourselves, and we get people that are professional in their ways as well. And then once again, you've proven that a fact for us, where we've got someone that is of a high caliber and of a high standing, and we appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much. It was lovely. Enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Sonny.
Okay, bye.
Thanks,
Bye.